Hey Spoops, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. So today I'm going to be showing you how you can turn yourself into Edward Scissorhands. Literally probably the sweetest Halloween character you could ever turn yourself into. I'm actually really excited about this look because I finally saw Edward Scissorhands for the first time about a week ago with my boyfriend, and I fell in love with the movie. He is such a sweetheart and honestly deserves so much better. And in this video, not only am I going to be showing you the makeup, but I'm also going to be showing you how you can kind of take an older pair of Edward Scissorhands gloves that you can get from Spirit Halloween, Walmart, Amazon, what have you, and refurbish them to make them look a little bit more detailed, realistic, and also sturdier, because the ones that you get online literally are flying every which way. These ones definitely have a lot more integrity to them and a lot more detail, a lot spoopier for sure. So anyways, with all that being said, if you guys are interested in seeing how you can achieve this Edward Scissorhands makeup look, then just keep watching. Hey guys, so to start off, I'm going to be showing you how you can DIY Edward Scissorhands gloves to make them look a little bit more detailed and movie accurate. So to start off, the products that you're going to need are some paint. I personally really prefer the Apple Barrel brand that you can get from Walmart, just because you can get a lot of different color paints to add different tones for very, very cheap. Some paintbrushes, and your scissor hands. I got these off of Amazon, and I will have them linked down below so it's easier for y'all to find them. But something I also recommend getting as well that I didn't show here is a new pair of black faux gloves. I got those from Amazon as well, and I will also have those linked down below so that you guys can get them. But I got these because I honestly looked at these gloves once I ordered them, and they are so floppy and just unsafe, almost a hazard, honestly, because they're just flying all over the place and just not as good as it could be. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this new pair of black faux gloves, and I'm going to be cutting off all of the foam pieces from the original glove and gluing them back in place on the new glove. I'm using hot glue, but of course you can use 𝐒6000, whatever you have on hand that you think would work and be sturdy enough. I personally just wanted to go ahead and use some hot glue. And you're also going to be cutting off the original blades and scissors from the first glove as well, and gluing them back on in the exact same order for the new glove. Something I recommend is definitely don't be afraid to use glue, because if you use too much, you can always paint over it with some of our paints. But I feel like a big issue they made when making the first glove, it just was not sturdy. There was not enough adhesive, which allowed the blades to kind of fly all over the place. Whereas with this, if you use a little bit more adhesive, it's going to stay in place, and you're going to have more control over where the blades go whenever you move your fingers. And then of course you're going to be doing the exact same thing to the other glove, once again keeping all the scissors and blades in the same order that they came in originally. And of course, if you have your own pieces that you want to swap out, for example, this foam piece isn't that great, it's kind of wide, you could also always like replace it with one that you create on your own. For me, this was just a really easy hack to make store-bought scissor hands look so much better and more realistic, because I really wanted to create my own scissor hands from scratch. I had actually originally bought a bunch of plastic and stuff to do that. Unfortunately, I just didn't have time, and I actually am really happy with how this turned out. It turned out a lot better than I was expecting, because honestly, if you just take any prop that you get from the Halloween store and repaint it, it is going to look so much better just because of the added detail and dimension. So as you can see here, I'm going in with some silvers and blacks and just adding this on top of the foam pieces, and then you also want to bring this on to the blades as well. I know that there's already a lot of silver and black on the blades, but if you kind of strategically place it in areas that you think would maybe start to rust or have more damage and kind of focus the paint in a more general section, it's going to look a lot better and more realistic. So as you can see, I'm even going to be going in with some brown as well. And another tip is anywhere that you see bolts or hinges or areas that would easily rust, you definitely want to add a little bit more paint there. And then I'm also going to be taking a mixture of some reds and browns as well and darkening up that red blade as well, just because I felt like it was too bright and it definitely needed a little bit more damage than it came with. And that is how you can refurbish Edward Scissorhands and make them look more detailed and realistic. Next, I'm going to be showing you how you can aid the styling of Edward Scissorhands wig. So once again, I bought this off of Amazon and I just wanted to tweak it myself. So I'm going to be taking some scissors and really just chopping up this wig even more than it came. The way that it came was honestly, it just kind of looked like an anime wig, and it definitely needed some more texture in it because the pieces all just kind of look the same. So I definitely just started chopping and making one side shorter than the other and the other kind of hang off my face a little bit more. And then I'm actually going to be taking some glycerin, running that through my fingers, and then taking that into my hair. I really like using this if you want to make the hair look a little bit more greasy naturally, and then also kind of help section out the pieces in the front of the face to kind of give him his little pointy bangs without having to fully commit to styling them with spiking gel. This way you can kind of get it to look the way that you want and then go forward with adding some of the got2b spiking gel to kind of solidify it if you're going to a cosplay convention. But for me, this definitely just worked as is. And that is how you can style Edward's wig. Moving on to makeup, I'm going to be starting off by blocking out my eyebrows with my 𝐼𝐼𝐼 glue stick. I'm going to be swiping this through my brow hairs in the direction that they would naturally grow, and definitely try and pull it as flat to my face as possible, making sure to put this glue only on the brow hairs. If you happen to get it on any skin, you can definitely take a Q-tip, spray it with some water, and blend out the edges. And this is also going to help kind of, in a way, almost dissolve the glue that might be on your skin or in places that you don't want it to be. And then going into the glue stick with a spatula, you're going to be taking out a little bit of the glue and just spreading that directly over your brow and trying to apply it once again just to the brow hairs, and definitely flattening out your brow as much as possible, making sure to press in firmly. And then of course, if you happen to get a little bit of glue elsewhere, you can just start to blend this out with the wet Q-tip. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and set this with some Johnson's baby powder or translucent powder, whichever you prefer, and then of course do the exact same thing to the next brow. I learned the Q-tip trick from Lex, aka 𝐼𝐸 here on YouTube, and I highly recommend it because honestly, I've always had a hard time blending the glue into my face, which is honestly the whole point of gluing down brows, and this definitely really helps, so I definitely recommend it. And of course, I'm going to be layering this up about 3 times until it is completely flat against my face, or as flat as I'm going to be able to get it. And then once that is done, you're going to be taking some concealer that is your skin color. I'm using my ColourPop No Filter Concealer in number 20, which is the medium shade, and I'm just going to be applying this directly onto the brows and then making sure to set this with some more baby powder and then continue to layer it up and set this as well. Next, we're going to be making Edward's scars. So for this, I'm going to be making latex paste. In order to do that, I'm going to be mixing some liquid latex and flour until you get a paste-like consistency, and I'm going to be applying this using my spatula. You definitely want to make sure that you make the scars thin because you can always add a little bit more to make it thicker, but it's definitely easier to just start small and then just widen it if need be. And of course, I highly recommend using a reference photo. I always recommend a reference photo when doing things like this because it is easy to kind of create it in the opposite direction because you're using a mirror, whereas if you're holding the photo up to the mirror, you can definitely apply it exactly where it needs to be. So once your scars are in place, you can definitely just go ahead and wait for it to dry and then set that with some baby powder on a wedge sponge. Next, I'm going to be taking my ColourPop Pretty Fresh Foundation in 85N and mixing that with some of my NYX Total Control Foundation in Porcelain and just applying this all over my face. And then I'm going to be going just into my NYX Total Control Foundation in Porcelain and applying this to the areas that I definitely want to be a little brighter and have that natural highlight. So this is going to be my cheekbones, my chin, and my forehead. And this is actually just going to kind of create a natural contour around my face before we go in and fully contour it using shading. I'm then going to go ahead and set my face using my Patrick Star and MAC Cosmetics translucent powder, and then we're going to be going into our Carnival 3 Love Tahiti palette, taking tan lines, and on a fluffy brush, I'm actually just going to be starting off by applying this on my brow bone and blending this down to my lower lash line as well. This is going to be surrounding his entire eyes with the exception of a little bit directly under his lash line and above his upper lash line. You kind of want to go ahead and leave those your normal foundation color because honestly, it's really interesting. He doesn't have any shadows there, it's just his skin tone. I'm then going to be hopping over to my Morphe and James Charles eyeshadow palette, taking this kind of tanned burgundy color, and I'm going to be using this to darken up those shadows. So I'm going to be focusing this on the inner part of my eye that's connecting to my nose and my lower lash line as well. And then I'm just going to be taking a clean brush to make sure that I'm blending out all the edges so that way they kind of blend seamlessly into the foundation, because honestly, these are just like dark circles that he has around his eyes, so we don't want them to be too stark and look like actual eyeshadow. And if you do have some areas that are a little bit too harsh, you can go into this light cream color and use this to blend into the rest of your foundation. I'm then going to be going into this mahogany brown again, and using this on a detail brush, I'm going to be accentuating the small wrinkles that are under his lash line, and this is also going to help accentuate the paleness that is kind of reflected from the shadows that we didn't fill in. And then I'm also going to be using this color as his contour, so I'm going to definitely be contouring and chiseling out his cheekbones and his forehead and his jawline, because Johnny Depp and just Tim Burton characters in general definitely have those sunken in cheekbones, so we definitely want to accentuate that for Edward Scissorhands, and then make sure to blend that out so that you don't have any harsh lines. Next, we're going to be using that same color to create the shadow heart illusion that he has on his lips. So we're going to start off by creating that heart and then just blending out the edges so that way you don't have any harsh lines before going into these two colors from the James Charles Morphe palette and just deepening up the very center of that to help give that a little bit more dimension and darken up those lips a little bit more. We're then also going to be taking that same shadow to continue to darken up the eye socket area, definitely applying this right under our brow bone and blending that downwards before going into our Moon Creations Pale Skin Body Paint Crayon. And using this, we're going to be going over each individual scar. This is a lighter color than the foundation that we use, so honestly, this is perfect for definitely just highlighting the scar before we go into adding even more details. I really, really love this crayon because it definitely just makes it easy to initially go over every single ridge that there is and highlight the scars. And then of course we're going to be adding a little bit more shading, so I'm going to be going back into that mahogany brown color that we've been using this whole look and just applying this lightly to the undersides of these scars just to kind of help define and make them pop out a little bit more. And of course, if you happen to have a little bit too much and you've darkened it a little bit too much, you can of course blend that out a little bit. And then once that is done, I'm going to be going back into that body paint crayon, taking a detail brush, going into that crayon and just applying this in certain areas right on top as well, in case you happened to darken any of that using the eyeshadows that you weren't supposed to. This is just kind of going to freshen up those lines a little bit more. And last but not least, I'm going to be running a little bit of mascara through my lashes, not to thicken or lengthen them at all, just to focus on giving them a little bit more color since they did get some eyeshadow and stuff on them. So you're just using this to kind of darken them up a little bit more. And that is how you can turn yourself into Edward Scissorhands this Halloween. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to see next. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. I will be uploading a new Halloween themed makeup tutorial every weekday for the entire month of October, so you guys definitely don't want to miss it. Also, if you haven't already, please consider supporting me on Patreon. You can support me for as little as $1 a month to receive all exclusive behind the scenes sneak peeks of upcoming projects and also some behind the scenes tips and tricks as well. Your donation helps me bring all these characters to life, and I really, really appreciate it. And in thanks, I'm also going to be doing a huge Halloween giveaway, so definitely make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel because I will be posting updates about that shortly. So anyways, once again, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all of your help and support. And with all that being said, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!